Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, good news. Yeah, all right. So, to be honest, I did not stream the last bit of my working on this task. I'm actually going to update my task, my video here, stream information, because I haven't updated it in a while. Probably be good to have it at least say something different, right? But applying .NET auth token verification. No, actually, no, I didn't actually do that. Token validation. I have not actually done that, but I will go over that here. Applying .NET auth. Uh, mm, .NET auth. What is this? What did I do? The whole thing was applying token, or how about this? Using token stored in cookie in NextJS. How about this? Using this is going to be, let's see, we did HTTP only. What else did I have in there? What are key elements of this? Oh, this is a Jwt token. Jwt Bearer Token. Okay, so it's done. I got it done. I got it going. And I can kind of go over a little bit of what I did. And ultimately, I'm going to go back and look at all my videos. I'm going to pull the pieces together that matter, and I'm going to make a cut, which is just going to be how to implement this. Put this piece in, put this piece in, put this piece in. I'm not going to actually do it all again, but I am going to go through and show what's needed, what code has to exist, and maybe if I do it again, it'll be basically me just, have my stuff to the side, and I code it in because I know it works. Okay, so that's probably one way to do it. We'll see how I decide. It will be a teaching video, not so much a learning video. So for most of what you see me streaming live is a learning video, me trying to figure it out. If I do a teaching video, it'll be me showing what I learned, basically. And it'll be much shorter, more to the point, and yeah, that's the goal. And allow people to kind of see the same scenarios that I had to accomplish, and coming up with how to make it work in their code. So, all right. So here's what I did. Ultimately, I didn't really do anything new to the AMG authorize. The only thing I did have to do to make things work here, I did change this. Okay, so I'm using ASCII 2 because that was the example I put towards ChatGPT when I said I wanted to, or actually I said I wanted to add encoding. I didn't realize I had encoding because it is actually this line that encodes it, right? And it was built into this. And, I do want to check this in, but I am going to see, watch, I think I'm going to try to show you what it was before. I'm going to try and show you what it was before. Tweak encoding using ASCII 2. ASCII 2 instead. And that's really the only thing I changed on here. Oh, actually, I could probably just show you the difference. Let's go here. View history, compare with. All right, so here we go. This is the only thing I did. Oh, no, this doesn't have it. Yeah, that's right, because I haven't checked in since the last few things I did. Okay, so I did have to add cores to my previous, but that was a step back from where I was. You can see I did add the ASCII 2 in there, but it doesn't show the way the encoding was applied. I did add require HTTP metadata, which set to false, and I don't know what save token. When I set to do it, it said save token. That was a new thing added in also. So I'm going to show you what this is when I check it in, and then I'm going to go undo stuff over here and then I'll throw out my undos. Assuming it saved it, because I haven't closed my app, so it should still have it. I'll just go ahead and commit all and push. Commit all and push, because I want my current stuff in there, fully functional. So okay, so it's fully updated. So now I'm going to go ahead and go back here, and we will close this. Why is this? No, I guess I have to go over here to do it. Solution. There we go. Programs, yes. All right, now we're going to go Control Z. I'm going to show you the last change I made. So this is the last thing. I deleted this line or changed it to reference this encoding. It was using UTF-8 encoding. I don't know if this broke or, I don't know if this was the reason it was failing, but it was one of the last things I did in an attempt to make this work. So I changed it to ASCII2. Now I don't know if that's because somehow, I don't know if the decode on the other side is using ASCII2. I don't know. I used the same key. Both sides are using the same key from the get-go. So I made sure of that. So ultimately, you need to give the key to both sides so that they know what key to decode with. But I don't know if the decode on the other side knew that it was ASCII2 versus UTF-8, and I don't know what the variation between UTF-8 and ASCII2 is. So maybe it just would have done it either way, because I did make one. I made a couple changes on the other side, but this is the only change I made here, and it was one of the last things I did. So I am going to throw out that change, but I wanted you to see that the UTF-8 encoding was one of my last changes that ultimately worked. Again, not promising. Somebody may know a little bit more of how these are functioning in the underside than me, and they might go, oh yeah, well, that probably didn't do anything. But maybe it didn't, maybe it did. But for me, it was part of the working solution, whereas UTF-8 was not. So we're going to undo that. We're going to throw that piece out because I don't want it. So go here, undo changes, say yes. And that's the only thing there that actually altered. So ultimately, we go then we went to React. One of the last changes I made here as well. I did check this in already, I believe, because I was like, yay, it worked. Let's make sure I don't lose it. I'm going to check it all in. With this one, I had to, it was still all about getting the right reads on my gets and my post and get everybody pulling and doing what they're supposed to do. I was having issues with, let's see if do I have everybody running here? All right, so we're going to go here. I did stop it so I could check it in. I'm going to show you that things are working. Again, this app's been open, so I could probably do some undos, show you the last couple of changes I made, just so that you can see what I did, and then you can kind of know, hey, this is what works. Now, I did do a lot of I got a lot of assist from ChatGPT and Blackbox AI, mostly ChatGPT. Blackbox AI has been running me in the wrong direction in a lot of cases. It gives you valid solutions, I presume, but it's not doing what where I'm at. Like if my code's already gone in a certain path, it tries to send me down other paths. It says, hey, why don't you just rewrite it like this? And it's total rewrite. And I'm like, well, I don't want to start from scratch again. I don't want to try to be decoding if this is going to work. You know, I mean, it might not, but that means everything has to change. My calls, my methods, my file names, everything has to change when you do the full total rewrite. And so I do recommend, if you're using ChatGPT and Blackbox AI, that you have a set of parameters, and you're going to figure out what those are, whatever your app is. If you're using, like for example, Blazor, I'm using Blazor for the side-by-side of this, and mine is using .NET 8, and it uses program.cs as the primary startup application, which it no longer uses startup .cs. But a lot of the samples that ChatGPT and Black Box AI give you. Use. I got something in my eye and it's just driving me bonkers. I don't know if my eyelash is bugged in my eye, or if I got a piece of dust in my eye, or what the heck. But everything is. I'm hoping I'm getting it out. Okay, so anyway, so when you have those two guys, you need to tell it, give it a set of parameters. So say I need to do X, Y, and Z. I'm using program.cs .NET Core 8. What the heck? I fix it for a second and then I start talking and it stabs me in the eye again. It's like right now it's fine. All right, so tell it that you're using any information that you found that it gives you a wrong path, a wrong direction. Make sure that you put the correcting piece in your basic statement, and that'll help a lot in that you get what you want. And it's pretty good at going, oh, if you're using X, Y, Z, maybe you're using RSTB, WXYZ kind of thing. If you're using that, you might have a lot of parameters, but it's pretty good. It'll say if you're using blah, 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 then this is how you would write this. And it'll give you a more on track of what you're already doing solution. And honestly, sometimes it's just better give it the procedure you have. Just say, I want to make this procedure do this. And it'll rewrite your procedure that does it the way you want it. And sometimes it's just add a line. It'll look exactly the same, and it'll just go, oh, well, you have this line in there or that line in there, and it'll fix things. So just keep in mind, there are easier ways to do it. I do recommend, if you can, give it what you have and see how it fixes it. See what it does that's different. Okay, so when I was working with my console or with my get function, this is the one thing that kept breaking. It was not doing the decode correctly. It kept returning empty tokens, and ultimately the key piece, the key thing that wasn't coming through, and I wasn't realizing this because for one, I wasn't decoding at first, and then when I was doing decoding, it wasn't calling my decoding correctly. I mean, there was a whole lot of weird things going on, but one of the things I did finally see, I finally inched my way forward. I got an error that said token needs to be a string. Now, a lot of the examples that ChatGPT and Black Box AI kept giving me, it kept telling me to send the Jwt token through token and process, the key. You needed the key. Hey, Beast Vlogs, how you doing, man? What's the latest? I'm just explaining how I finally got this fixed. My last several days I wasn't getting everything going, and also I'm kind of giving a little bit of primer of my experience with ChatGPT and Black Box AI. I will say this though, and I mentioned this yesterday, Black Box AI, well, ChatGPT more so, has become my primary go-to versus YouTube/Google. I do like a lot of the YouTube videos, and but the problem is it's like trying to find that perfect. If you have the perfect video, the YouTube video is better, and they're usually more complete, right? So you're going to get somebody who says this is how you do it from A to Z. This task, it may be a small task, but they're going to give you the full picture. And so if you do their task, it's going to look and work pretty much exactly like they say. If you go to ChatGPT and Black Box AI, you really only get what you ask for, specifically. And it's not going to have the beginning to the end. Now, you can ask it for the beginning to the end, but you've got to be very, very specific about what you want. Because there's a good chance it could do it in the wrong version, it could do it in the wrong language, it could do it in the wrong style, because like Next.js or React could be doing pages routing, and then if you're using app routing or some other routing that's going on, like I use app folder routing in my Next.js, but it's often giving me pages routing, And it's like, no, I have to rephrase the question because I'm using app routing so that it doesn't try to give me things set up in a way that I'm not using. Now I do have a page file, but it's not using a pages routing. It's different. The folder, because you have a pages folder is basically the difference versus an app folder, but it does lay out slightly different in the way it calls that routing. So you have to be very specific. So if you ask ChatGPT or Blackbox AI to do a full, this is my task, be prepared to be spending a lot of time either recrafting the question or asking for it to redo pieces for you, and then things you kind of going all over the place. And then you're like trying to understand, if you're new to programming, it might be better to ask more thorough or ask for bigger tasks when you're better at the code, because you kind of will understand more of what it's giving you. You're also going to be better at giving it the correct question, a fully more detailed question. If you're doing it with small questions, you know, you're going to be able to focus on the task that you need to do. But anyway, keep in mind that they are very helpful, and the code they give you is valid code. So far I have, well, okay, so it does occasionally give you bad code, but it's usually pretty minor bad code. And it may only be bad because of the way my code is set up in conjunction with it. I actually found an error in Blackbox AI, and I laughed because when I told it it had an error, it goes, oh, I'm sorry for, it actually said, oh, you're right, I apologize for the error. The way you fix this is blah. And it actually admitted its mistake, which I thought was kind of funny. So it's kind of like it takes assumptions with certain things. It's like it knows it needs a certain library, so it imports blah library. But sometimes you don't need that library because other libraries take care of it, or maybe that library's been deprecated, doesn't exist anymore, and that's kind of what happened in my case. That library did not exist, and I told it, that library is not there. It says, oh, you can just use this, which was one of the other libraries it had you import. So in other words, I already had this stuff in place to fix it, but I was looking for this library that it told me to put in. So it just said, you could just use this, and I did already have it. Everything worked without pulling in anything new. One of the problems is if you keep going off on the tangents that Blackbox AI or ChatGPT sends you on because you didn't give it a precise enough question, you will have a problem with, you're importing a lot of stuff. And it'll say import this or import that. There's different ways to handle cookies. So it says import this cookies library or this cookies library. If you're using different types of tokens, you may be pulling in a different token library, or you're going to be doing different things. And ultimately, when it's all said and done, when it's all working, you may not even be using a chunk of those libraries. And you'll be finding yourself removing the imports, but that stuff is still in your Visual Studio, which might be good at some point in the future. Maybe you'll use it, but it's not going to be in your code because your code doesn't use it. Okay, so let's go back. This is the answer. The ultimate last thing I did when everything suddenly went poof and worked. Now, I did a lot of other stuff along the way, got a lot of other things working, and you probably have to watch previous videos to see some of that. But last night, when I wasn't streaming and I was trying to figure this out anyway, I didn't stream because I knew I had to leave in 20 minutes, and I didn't know if I was going to solve it in 20 minutes, but I was trying. And so I didn't have time I didn't want to stream a 20-minute blah video, which I've done a few times where I've started a video, accomplished absolutely nothing during the video, and it was just kind of a waste. So I do plan to some way, I do occasionally go back and check my videos and delete ones that just have nothing of value. And then ultimately I want to take some of them, take the pieces, turn them into compact teaching videos, not learning. I am so thirsty and my drinks are all gone. I need to get something to drink here. hot down here. I just got done working out. We were up till, I don't know what time, 12:30 last night because, and then so I got up a little bit late, did my workout, and so I'm still pretty warm and overheating. I mean, I know in the world of Twitch and all you video gamers out there, 12:30 is like, pfft, I'm just getting started at that time. But and I do occasionally play Friday nights. In fact, tonight is my stay up late night, so I'll probably be up till 12:30, 1 o'clock. I don't know. I don't like to stay up too late because I like to get up early on Saturday and game all day and do whatever all day. Because Saturday is my do nothing day, my fun day. I don't work out, don't work, don't do anything. I just hang out, have fun. I feel like there was something going on tomorrow, though. I mean, a fun thing, but maybe not. I went to a convention last week, so maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But anyway, I still haven't said what I did. And to be honest, with that, you're like, just say it already. And I'm the same way. I go watch other people's videos, and I'm looking for the answer, and they spend the first 40 minutes not telling me the answer. And I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise. I'm just kind of giving you the lead-in, the story behind the story. Here you go. That's it. That's it. That's all it was. Token.value.
Smell it. Does it smell like rotten food? No, smell the inside.
I know. I'm looking at.
It smells awful, doesn't it?
That's pretty. It's probably that tea stain or whatever.
But
That's on
smell this too. See, I had this on it.
Well, did run them through the dishwasher?
Yeah, I did. Do you smell
Yeah,
it?
you know what that is.
The ring?
It's the ring. It's a rubber ring and whatever's getting around it. You could probably, for one, you could probably find, if you measure this, go on Amazon, find a new rubber ring or new Ninja blade or whatever.
Yeah.
And we could probably replace those rings. Because that might even be similar to the size of the I need for mine. But if you find them, then we just put something in there, pull it out, and then push a new one. Well, pull it out, clean it.
Yeah.
And then put it in there. But
Okay,
and, plus these things, they occasionally, I think sometimes it even leaks a little around here.
Yeah.
But so it's possible. Maybe you could just find a new blade.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But the cup, I think, is probably. You said you cleaned it with dishwasher.
I ran it through both of them through the dishwasher.
And they still came out.
Well, they were in the cupboard, and I took the lid off, and I smelled it, and I'm like, oh.
Well,
God.
it's possible one's doing it to the other, but you're right, because that's stuff we're using to clean. I don't know, but.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, obviously, I think with this one's the easiest to just scrub it down good.
Maybe like a Clorox water delusion.
A good soap with scrubbing. Maybe get some of that tea
It's
stain
just
off.
tea stain. That don't stink.
Well, I'm just saying
rotten
though,
food.
if there's any kind of a layer of some kind that's not coming off of the dishwasher, and then just let it dry, and see if they stink separately.
Yeah.
And see what I think this one's the ring.
Yeah, I
plus
think
the
so
seal.
too.
There's too many spots where there's
Yeah.
stuff could be going on there. But
Ugh,
this one,
all
I
right.
think you might be able to clean up. Well, you've got like 5 of those
I
or
know.
whatever, so. So I got minor distraction there.
I'm gonna be leaving to go to work, so.
Oh, you're working today?
Yeah, for a couple hours, set up classrooms too.
Okay, babe. All right, where was I? Okay, so yeah, what was going on? It kept saying my token was invalid, and here's the thing with React, and this is one of those things I'm just now getting. Strangely enough, for the month or month and a half that I've been working with React, you can go to the console when you run this code, and it'll tell you. Anytime you put console.log into your code, a beloved Marvel. What's a beloved villain? Who's a beloved villain? Avengers. Really? Ultron's coming back? All right, back to task. I just wanted this open because I wanted to, show you. Yep, don't need that. Don't need that. All right, so let's open this up. So if it's a vision series, why can't I click this? Uh-oh, am I back to the, see, don't know what causes this. It drives me nuts. It's I've got a bug in my Windows, my monitor, something, where suddenly things lock up. See, I can't move anything. I can't drag. It looks like things are frozen, but my other monitors work fine. They're all, I can grab them, click them, drag them, see I can move stuff around. Everything's fine. Something happens on my main monitor here, and like I said, I don't know if this is my monitor or if this is Windows or my video card or whatever, but I haven't figured out the root cause. But I do know how to fix it finally. I played with it enough times. But what's happening here is I can't click anything, see? I can't switch my monitors. Now if I go pick it down here, suddenly I got it. It works, right? But if I click my desktop, a password generator, huh? That sounds cool. No, unfortunately, my Python is very, very rudimentary. I've done stuff in C#, but I haven't like decompressed a RAR file. RAR files are usually used for like CAD drawings and stuff, aren't they? I mean, like isn't that what they usually are for? But I mean, I know there's tools out there that do it, but you want to do it inside of Python, and I unfortunately couldn't tell you for sure how to do that. There are a lot of tools that can extract a RAR file. You could just Google one, but I don't know Python well enough, and I haven't actually tried to extract or encrypt files, even in C#, which is my language. I don't know that I ever have, so I would have to look it up. But I'll tell you what. Watch this. Let's try it. Try ChatGPT or Blackbox AI, and I tell you these tools are amazing. And I'm gonna try it, only because I'm curious now. I wanna go. You know, lately ChatGPT has been better to me. I don't know. Blackbox AI is, you know, it's good when it understands your question correctly, but I don't think it's better. The trick with these tools, though, to be honest, is expressing the question with all the details, and then they tend to be better. So let's see. How do I extract a text file from a RAR file and encrypt it using Python. Extract the RAR file using the PyRAR file library or RAR file library to extract files. Here's an example implementation. Install the libraries, extract text, and encrypt. I don't know if that's exactly what you're looking for, but that's what ChatGPT returns. I would have to test. Obviously, you have to test it out in order to know if it works. But I have found that ChatGPT is pretty good at stuff. And sometimes if it breaks down, like if you're stepping through it, something goes off the rails, you can often say, this code is returning this error, and put it in the same context. Okay, so in other words, if you have a ChatGPT question and it gives you this answer, and say step 2 fails, you can just say, you know, this step 2 code, blah, is returning this error, blah. And it will say it. It'll give you an answer back in the context of all the code it already gave you. It'll go, oh, well, that might be because blah or blah. And you can narrow down without having it give you totally brand new code. You can even say so much as, I received this error when I ran that code. And it go, oh, well, that might be because of blah. And so you want to keep your questions all within the same line, and you can make references back to previous questions, and ChatGPT will stay on topic. Black box AI might not. Black box AI goes, oh, well, you can write it this way, and it might give you a whole different thing. It's a little, I mean, black box AI is supposed to be specific for coders. There are things about black box AI that are pretty nice. The one thing I like most about black box AI correct. Well, if it's an already encrypted RAR file, I mean, obviously you need the decrypt code. I mean, if you're trying to hack a decrypt code, don't ask me. I mean, I don't know that ChatGPT is going to tell you if you're trying how to hack it. So the problem is getting around the already encrypted RAR file. Well, again, yeah, you got to have whatever encrypted it. You got to have the key to decrypt it. And if, like I said, I don't have any idea about hacking stuff. That's not my purview, and I don't know that ChatGPT's purview either. But you know, I don't know. There's probably something out there. There's probably a black market AI that'll tell you how to do that. Well, let me see. Problem is getting around the already encrypted RAR file. I mean, you'd want passwords. Okay, so I don't know how Python does it, but I'm sure that there's a way to store a key. You store it like in a secret. You store it in something that's not accessible outside of the application. So if you have it, you would put it like, you would store the key like this one's generate the key, right? For net.generate key. This should be saved securely. So you would put it like in Visual Studio. There's a secrets manager. It's stored off the side. It's usually just like app.json something or other. And then there's also a secrets file, or a local.m they call it, in React, that stores your keys that aren't accessible to the outside world. So your key is compacted, compressed within, and then whenever you tell it, you call that key from within your code, it's just going to go get that key, but you're going to reference it. You're not going to actually pull it into your code. So like you say, it's going to be secure. Now, if you're trying to come up with a new way, like if you already have the RAR secret, you put that secret into your secrets file on your code. So wherever it's created, your code can then decrypt it because it'll have the key. I actually had to do the same thing. That's what mine is doing here, right? So I have a secret here that all of my tokens that I'm going out for my authentication, it goes to my auth API. It has the same key stored in its secret location. It encodes the key, or the token, sends it over to me when I call for it, and then my code here will go run this secret, it'll run this token verify, it'll pull it out with the secret that I've stored. It's the same value, but they're both stored in a secret value, a secret file that you can't read out from the outside. It's not callable from other code. I got to quickly fix my issue here I was talking about, and again, I don't know if anybody else experienced this. I cannot find it anywhere on the internet, but I do know that for my purposes, if I am far enough over, see, I can't do anything in the middle here. My mouse will move here, but I can't right click, do anything. But if I go far enough to the left, you'll see that my display settings pop up. Yeah, I'm gonna check. I don't know. Again, I haven't worked a lot with encrypted files. Again, you could do something like all right, let me fix this. I gotta fix this because I can't get to my windows here. It only take a second. It won't let me toggle back and forth, and using the toolbar is stupid. I can do it. So I have learned, if anybody ever runs into this issue, the best fix for me as using scale. Oops. Nope. Nope. It's the wrong button, I think. I want to go back here. Click here. And go bigger. Right? Just change the scale to something bigger. I don't know why, because I tried going smaller before. It didn't do anything. But for some reason, I can change to bigger. Oh, did I apply it? Oh, dang it. I did not apply it. Now I can't get because it's on the wrong window. Display settings. Sheesh. Alright. Oh, wait. No, it's not scale. Never mind. Ignore me. It's not scale. It's supposed to be resolution, I think. Wait a minute. No, it was scale. Oh, because I'm already at max here. Why is this being dumb? Alright, so I fix the scale. And then... Oh, I know what the problem is. I'm on the wrong screen. Let's go back. This is quick if I'm paying attention to what I'm doing. There we go. Let's go here. Yeah, okay. So I go to the larger scale. Suddenly everything works. I can now click everywhere. See? Voila, everything's happy now. I can click on the back and nothing happens. I can still work. Then I just set it back. It's all like, oh, stop doing that. What is that doing that for? All right, go back here. I set it back. I like the 125 scale. But yeah, that did it. Everything should work now. I once again have control over my entire world. See? Display settings, everybody toggles. It's the weirdest thing, man. Okay, so let's see. I can go back here and we can ask, let's just ask GPT, what is the recommended solution for storing encrypted text files? As opposed to what? No, let's just ask the general question. Secure file storage location. On disk storage, cloud storage. Yeah, see, I guess I didn't really think about that question. Was not a good question. Yeah, this is just storing them. Like, where do you store them? Maybe. Let's see. What are you're talking about encrypting it in a RAR file? Is there a better way than .rar to store encrypted text? Encryption containers, Veracrypt, BitLocker, File Vault, Direct File Encryption, OpenSSL. These are some of the... Yeah, that's what I kind of said. And then they do, okay. Encrypted database, custom encryption. Man, it's giving me all kinds of stuff. Custom encryption solutions. They're giving you a lot of third-party stuff. Sorry about that. While RAR files can provide encryption, they are not the most secure or flexible solution. Encrypted containers like Veracrypt, direct file encryption with tools like GPG or OpenSSL, secure zip. So it's basically saying that is not the best way. But you'd have to look into, or secure cloud solutions offer more robust and flexible options. The best choice depends on your needs, such as easy use, platform compatibility, and level of... probably, I would think like OpenSSL could be done in Python, I bet. All right, which of these solutions can be implemented using Python. Description: encryption algorithms like AES library in Python provides a simple, secure way to encrypt and decrypt files. Several of the encryption solutions mentioned can be implemented directly in Python. Below are the options that you can implement using Python along with brief examples. Well, there you go, man. There's a few options. SQL Cipher with Python. VeraCrypt with Python. And it did mention that a few of those are better than using RAR files. So you've got a few solutions on how to accomplish that. Now you would probably have to use a combination of the two, right? Because if you're storing it in a RAR file, you want to decrypt the RAR file and then re-encrypt it into some other solution, which is probably what you'd want. If you're starting with a RAR file, if you're creating the RAR file as part of the process, then that might, you may not have the RAR file to begin with. But ultimately, yeah, you're doing the same thing. So yeah, these are some solutions for you, man. Like I say, I think ChatGPT is really good. Keep in mind though, if you're doing it for free, you log in, you do ChatGPT for free. It gives you only so many questions, and then you have to wait like 30 or 40 minutes before it resets. So if you're just going nuts on questions for the first 40 minutes, it's going to say, hey, okay, you've hit your limit for 4.0. You can keep asking questions that says, oh, you'll use our standard 3.0 or whatever it is, libraries until 2:30. So it's not like you can't use it anymore. And I have continued, and it still returns pretty good answers. I don't know how much better 4.0 is over the other, but what I do is Black Box AI has become my secondary go-to. If I need to try something and ChatGPT is not giving me my, it says I have to wait 30 minutes, I'll go use Black Box AI for 30 minutes, and hopefully it'll get me through. And now I'm using it pretty regularly right now, but a lot of times I'm going back and actually doing my code. So anyway, yeah, so my last problem with the token was it would keep saying the token was not valid. I finally got it to actually read the token correctly. I had to decrypt it to make it do what I wanted to. Once I got it decrypted, it kept complaining, saying, this is not valid, you can't read it, there's no way to pull any information out of this. I wanted my code to say something like, if there isn't an email, or in this case sub, then just return a generic email for now. Turns out, since I'm using email to log in, it is returning sub as part of my Jwt token. It returns that and how long it's got to expire. It just does, it does the whole bit. And when I changed, I just said, well, is there a dot value? Because it kept saying it wasn't a string. And it's because token was coming back as a full object that needed to be broken up. And the token is just the object holding your JSON or whatever it is. So I just said dot value, and voila, decoded it, popped it out. Now it's giving me exactly what I want. And I was able to go in here. When I had it write the log of the decoded value, it had sub, it had the expiration time, it had the token, it had everything. Everything was just there. And now it was able to return that back and display my sub. So I should be able to go here now and hit this and show off what I've accomplished. And it seems like such a tiny thing though, but ultimately it is giving me the full picture of what I'm trying to accomplish. You know what? Some of the people on Stack Overflow are jerks. You know what? People, if they knew the answers, if they were professionals, if they were not noobs at something, they would not be asking the question, period. And if somebody's giving you the, well, why are you asking that question here, blah, 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 you know, hey, you know, it's, they just ignore anybody who acts like a jerk on there. I mean, I think everybody's a noob at something. I mean, I have 15 years of C# framework experience, and I have, you know, 20 years of SQL Server experience. I have ASP.NET and HTML experience, but I'm a noob. I am a noob in React. I don't know it. I'm learning it. I'm starting to conceive the concepts. Next.js, Python, as far as syntax goes and knowing the methods and the equivalents in Python. You know, hey, Python threw me off. The biggest thing that it took me to figure out, because the little class thing I was taking didn't actually say it, is indentation matters. I'm like, really? Indentation is part of the code? Which is kind of crazy. You know, SQL Server has kind of a weird thing too. When you do an if statement, you don't have to put like any brackets or an end if or anything immediately after the if. You know, you just put the code, but only if you're only doing a single line. If you do an if statement, you do a single line, you can just put it there. If you do a second command, now I'm not talking about a wrap line, a line that continues, because in SQL you can continue lines, you can just keep typing. And it like you can have something that just wraps and it'll just read the next line as long as it's part of the same command. But if you do a second command, you have to put a begin end statement within the if for it to capture the whole thing. So yeah, there's some formatting variations. And now other languages like VB and C#, they do stuff. VB uses end if, C# uses squiggly brackets, and then of course others use like React uses squiggly brackets too. So they all have their thing. Everybody's got their thing, but the indentation, I had never seen a code that uses indentation as part of the code, and I was like, why is this not working? And I was like, oh. I said, the only thing different here is this line is back a tab. I says, I'll put that on, but that can't possibly have any effect. Voila, everything worked. I'm like, what? I just talk about noob, right? So I mean, it's like that's like probably one of the most basic things about Python is to know that indentation matters. But you come from another language and you're like, this does not make sense. Why is this stuff happening? But all the other stuff that the Python thing was trying to teach me, loop structures and decision structures, I was like, come on, just get to the stuff I need to know. So for me, it was just learning the different methods and functions and stuff that Python does that's the equivalent to what I know in C#. So a lot of times I was like getting ahead of this fundamentals class by just doing it, and I was like, oh, there's a better way to do this, because it was trying to do the simple way. I wanted it to be the more efficient way, so I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, hey, how do you do this thing in Python? Because I'm not. And then the next step in the class would be, then this is how you would do it this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, they did exactly what I just did. So yeah, I mean, having experience helps you find solutions, but hey, if you're a noob, man. Don't worry about it. And if Stack Overflow people are being jerks, ignore them. You know, even if you've been doing the same language for 20 years like me, and even if your code that you're working on is .NET Framework and it's all within exactly what you've done before, there are still tasks that come up that if you've never done that task, you're going to do some searching. You know, you're going to go look. And I am a convert to the AIs now. I'm telling you, the AIs, not all of them are as equal. Copilot does pretty good, but it's not as well formatted. It does good answers. Like if I clicked on Copilot here and asked it the same questions I asked ChatGPT, which by the way, it's based on ChatGPT. It gives you good answers, but it doesn't format them as nicely. It's not as clean and just, I don't know. It explains them well. It gives you good feedback, but it's like it would be my second or third option. I'm still jury out on Black Box AI. All right, so let's log in my new thing here. So you saw that I had the login button on the top there. That was trickier than it seemed, because a lot of what I was trying to accomplish there is that there's a conditional link there. And if everything works correctly, that now, which we'll see, should say it should go to an account page instead of to the auth page. Oh, are you talking about in your code, like the IntelliSense completes the line for you? Or is there are you using like a built-in AI that's trying to help you know the answer? I don't have, there is actually what do you call it? Libraries. There are libraries that you can put in your VS Code. I'm not using it. I'm just using the website. So a lot of times, sometimes it shoots me in the foot. Sometimes it allows me to work around some of the weird stuff it does. Where I only take what I want. I'm like, okay, well, this stuff is pretty much what I've already got. I'm doing something slightly different than what it's saying, but this is the piece I wanted, and I'll just copy and paste. And then I learn it. But, you know, ChatGPT, as good as it is not going to give you 100% of the answer. And at some point, you have to you have to understand what you're doing. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. I'm going to go in here and take this next step here. Okay, so, oh look, it didn't do it. Something went, oh no, it's still doing something. I don't like that. Let's close this puppy up. I'm not even using this right now. What just happened? All right, so this guy didn't update like he was supposed to. Of course, right? So it worked last night, and I'm like, yay! Hey, Mark, how you doing, man? I'm trying to show how I got everything working last night because I wasn't streaming, and guess what? It's not working. So something I just did, or something broke. We're back to forbidden. What is going on, man? Why is it doing that all of a sudden? Fetch token. Because yesterday I did this, and it was like, yay, this loaded up. So what's supposed to be happening here is, when this is done getting its thing, this login is supposed to change after I've done the login, and it's supposed to change to the email of the person. It's supposed to say hello to the email. And that's what it did that last night. So I checked everything in quick because I didn't want to break anything. And now look, it's not working. So something failed to load the resource. Jwt value changed. Email. Huh. All right, let's go see what's happening. Compiled. What am I building? Okay, so what I'm building is two side-by-side applications. The objective is to learn, because that's what I'm trying to do, learn React and NextJS on one side, and on the other side is Blazor, using a .NET 8 web application. And with that, they're both going to be using an auth API written in .NET. So I have the .NET auth. Oh, you know what? Do I? Wait a minute. This could be part of my problem here. Ah, there you go. That's why it didn't work. I don't have my auth API running. Okay, so I need to run this. So this is my .NET 8 auth API that I wrote. And I went through the process of learning how to get this functional. And it's a very simplistic variation of what you might get. Like if you go to, there's a couple of, I won't say a couple, there's a bunch of YouTube videos on creating a web API for authentication in .NET. But what they never taught me, two things were missing, and that resulted in me end up writing this from scratch kind of, and learning a little bit more of how things worked a little, and it simplified the code significantly, and it gave me what I wanted. One thing it didn't have, none of them had, was this validate token step. So if I wanted to send my token back to the API and go, hey, is this valid? And have it check it, see if it's valid. Second of all, none of those, which I tell you was driving me bonkers, none of the, I won't say there aren't any, I'm going to say none of the ones I saw, none of the half dozen ones I saw, actually showed you how to pull the auth API into another application, that token, and then utilize it in another application. Not here locally. See, they would always show you how to, oh, you can now add your API to this weather forecast, which is part of the application. You're not calling it from Blazor or React or some other tool on another server. And I was like, well, how do I call it from another thing? I don't want to call it from within the app. And I couldn't figure it out. But eventually, I started working with the APIs, or not the APIs, the AIs. And I said, all right, let's try ChatGPT. And I was like, oh, it's kind of giving me some code. Maybe I should try some of these. And my questioning, learning how to ask questions of those AIs makes a huge difference. But ultimately, it started pointing me in the right direction. And I was able to start learning how to actually consume those APIs from other applications. So what my apps are they're called the Ultimate Community Ladder is what I'm going with, but some of my code still says Ultimate Neighborhood Ladder. Semantics, right? But I just like the sound of community, and it's easier to spell when you're typing. The whole NEIGH thing was, fingers weren't going with it. Community is just easier. COMMUNIT. I don't know. Just fingers. When you're typing fast, Claude is better than ChatGPT. Who's Claude? I don't know Claude. I was using Blackbox AI. Some people say, oh, Blackbox AI is great because it's written for code. And I am not a full convert to Blackbox AI. ChatGPT, though, I'm telling you, I have a hard time even guessing what's better than, because Blackbox AI has a couple. The one thing I liked about Blackbox AI is if I don't finish what I'm doing and I come back to it the next day, my stuff's still going to be there. I can still go in, it won't log me out, it still continues to work until I change the page or whatever, but it just keeps your stuff. ChatGPT, if you don't finish whatever you're working with and you come back the next day, your stuff's gone. You're like, oh, I got to remember the question I asked, or I got to go click on one of these and hope that one of my previous things, because sometimes I'll have multiple pages of ChatGPT going and they don't all save to the previous questions location, because I don't know if one overwrites the other. I don't know how that works. So you lose some of what you were working on. That is one of the problems with ChatGPT. Beyond that, ChatGPT, I have found, stays on topic better. Blackbox AI will, sometimes you'll ask it a question regarding its previous stuff and it'll give you a new response, but a lot of times it's very hard to get it to respond. Like if it has a particular syntax or root, I don't know, maybe I'll try it. But like I said, so far I've been really impressed with ChatGPT, and I don't know what I'd expect more, because it gives me what I want in the context that I want. It's very nicely formatted, and it explains what you're doing so you understand what your code is. So it's basically everything I want. Whereas Blackbox AI is supposed to be good because it's specific for coders. I don't know what Sonnet is. I know ChatGPT is using ChatGPT 4.0, unless you ask it too many questions and then it uses 3.5 or whatever, but it only for 30 minutes, and then you come back and it might be 45 minutes. I don't know. It has a weird time frame. It resets at this time, and it's usually 30 or 40 minutes after you've hit the limit. I don't hit the limit but once a day, so it must be a pretty good limit. Unless you pay. And I don't pay because I'm out of work and I'm not paying for anything I don't have to pay for. I still haven't told you what my apps are. All right, the Ultimate Community Ladder it's a competition ladder. But for example, I used to be part of there used to be a local, I want to say local, but it was national, or at least West Coast, called, it was something tennis, something. It was about tennis, and it was a ladder. And you join up, and then you say, okay, I play a 3.5, and you would join a 3.5 ladder within the tennis application, and you just email people on the ladder and you say, hey, do you want to play? And then if you beat them, you'd move up in rank, and everybody would just challenge people on the ladder, and you would just move up, and you'd go meet at local tennis courts. You say, hey, you want to meet at Juanita? You know, you pick the area of the ladder that you're playing in would be, 10 miles or something. So you'd have to be willing to go outside of those ranges. And you could move up as many as 10 spots on the ladder. So usually it seemed like there was 50, 60 people in each ladder. Depends on how popular that particular ladder was. But even the different skill sets, 2.5 had about the same number. 4.0, 5, I don't even think they had a 5.0 ladder because there wasn't enough people playing in it. But again, that's kind of the whole premise of it. And you just challenge people, and then you try to get to the top, and then maybe at the end of the season there might be like an end of season tournament. Maybe you go play at tennis courts such and such, and you would just play with it'd be like the top 10 people in the ladder. And then at the end of the season, the top person gets a t-shirt. It was pretty simple. I actually, no, they gave a t-shirt to the person who was the most active in each ladder, and I got a t-shirt, I want to say once, where I beat everybody for the most active. And then the next year I was second or something. And I think I got a t-shirt both years. But ultimately, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to create that same ladder. That tennis went away. That tennis ladder went away, and I went to go play, and I wanted to go join it again, and it's like it was gone. The guy who was running it or whatever decided to hang it up, and it was cool because it was everywhere. You could go. I could join one in Colorado and join a ladder there. I want to do something similar. I want to have a site, or at least in theory. Again, I have to get it working. That will allow people to join a ladder, and the reason I call it the ultimate ladder, and it's a community, it's not just tennis, is the idea is that you'd be doing the same thing, but there might be multiple sports. You could do pickleball and tennis and bowling, and you can be in all of them. You can be in multiple ladders if you want to. And you'd earn points based on your wins and the variety of people and the variety of activities that you're taking part in. So this gets people to play across the board. You can kind of see how good you are, and those points would go up on the ultimate community ladder. And that's just an overall ladder of who's the most active and winning the most, and you can click on them and it'll show you what they've been playing and how many times they've been winning and how many different people they've played. Maybe not who they played, but so you can kind of see how to get up on that ladder. And at the same time, you could be competing in a bowling ladder, a tennis ladder, a pickleball ladder, just one of them. There might even be some board game ladders, and people can go meet at a community center or church or be part of a game group. Maybe a bunch of people in the game group want to be on the ladder, and every time you play a particular game. Now, it would be best, it's a game that, maybe just the most popular games are on there. Because if you're doing board games, right, there's a million board games. But you might put, in every quarter, there's a winner to the ladder. So every 3 months or so. So you could join this ladder and it would work for 3 months. So there might be a summer, a fall, a winter, and a spring ladder. And people can take part in them. So it may not even be, it'd be kind of silly to play in a winter ladder in tennis or pickleball because they're outdoors. But bowling you can still do, and board games. that's what I'm doing. That's my whole thing. And I'm barely at the authorization piece. I don't have anything on there except what you saw in my app right here. If I go here and click back to my app, where'd it go? It's right here. So this is what it is. Welcome to the Ultimate Neighborhood Ladder. Pickleball and tennis ladders now added. They're not. But we're going to add that stuff. And it's just, this is just latest news. Our first ladders have been added to the site. The initial region will be Seattle North End with more to come. So that's weird. My phone is sitting next to me, and there are two things touching it. A slight touch from a flap of a heart rate monitor, which the heart rate piece isn't attached. It's just the strap. And a plastic bag which is leaning on the side. You say, why are you talking about this? Well, I'm telling you, because it keeps going off saying the touch protection has been activated. Accidental touch protection. There's nothing touching the screen. I don't even know what it's talking about. Unless this heart rate strap is triggering something. But it's like I said, it's not even touching it. The weight of the strap doesn't even go to the screen. The plastic bag is not touching the screen. I don't know what's going on, man. I think my phone's wigging out. Let's put on a charger. You could probably laugh at me because I get distracted so easily. You're probably going, man, this guy just can't stay on topic. It's like I jump over from here to there to everywhere. I mean, like, for example, my distractions. Beast Vlogs was asking me how to do certain things, and and I was kind of helping him out using ChatGPT because, again, I didn't know how to do it. I mean, what he was asking me. And people come because I'm streaming, and they're like, hey, this guy's an expert. No, no, I'm not. Especially not in the things I'm doing, because this is all for learning. This is all me just trying to figure it out, and hopefully I'm going to, I'll try Claude. I don't know. Is it a free one? Because if it's not free, I'm not doing it. But I have to actually have a question, though. Claude AI. Wow. I keep hearing a lot of people talking about different AIs. And, all right, let's see. Claude AI versus ChatGPT. A programmer's perspective. Okay, let's see what this guy says. Oh, he's a subscriber, so he's getting the best of both. I found Claude to be exceptionally impressive in my experience. It consistently produces nearly bug-free code on the first try. I recently tested both. Claude's summary was not only more accurate, but only delivered in a smart human-like style and contrast. Errors and felt robotic and engaging. Overall experience. While I was initially excited, ChatGPT's release, using Claude has changed my perspective. Returning to GPT after using Claude feels like a step backward. In conclusion, has impressed me with its prowess, accurate summarizations, and natural communication style. It's challenging my assumption is the current state of the art. I'm curious to hear about other experiences. Okay, so to be fair, one must always consider ChatGPT is not a programming-only GPT, though. Claude is, it's supposed to be more than that. I mean, it's a programmer's thing, like black box AI. So it should be better. Whereas ChatGPT should be better at ChatGPT should be better at the overall world. So if it gives you good answers and everything, but maybe not the best answer, whereas some particular AI might be better for pictures and one better for programming and one better for blah, a lot of those are very precise and they know what they're talking about because they talk specifics. Whereas ChatGPT is about everything, right? So I currently have both, using Claude as long as I can, selectively with longer prompts, and ChatGPT for the rest. Yeah, see, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude. Jeez, he's got four. This guy uses four different Perplexity. Ugh. He doesn't want to talk about weed. You know, it's funny. None of these guys talk about black box, which is interesting because I was told black box is really good. Huh, weird. I wonder why they blacked this out. It is. I asked Claude to adjust the post. Here's my prompt and original text. See, they blacked out the actual original text. Oh. Oh, weird. That's so strange. Why did they do that? Huh. You know, it's kind of funny if it was written by Claude. Claude's like, "Oh yeah, well you didn't hype me up enough here. Let me tell you a little bit better how I work." I was thinking the same thing about Claude. How awesome it is. I was reading your post and I was like, everyone's seeing it. Now you're telling me I was actually reading a Claude write-up about how good Claude is, and was praising the write-up. Only right I get fooled by such a good. All right, well, maybe I'll give it a go. I got to get to another question because my last solution has been made. But, and I will get to more questions. Trust me, I'm going to have a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to my app. And I have AMG authorized running now. I got it. Now today's action might be broken up into smaller bits because I have to do a couple more things. You know, I do have to do some more job things on LinkedIn because, like I say in my chat there or my description, I need to get a job. So hey, if anybody out there knows that they need a developer who's been doing C# framework for years and SQL Server for years, but wants to utilize his new React, NextJS, Blazor skills, along with my AZ204 training that I'm about 75% of the way through, and I plan to finish in the next month, and then hopefully take the certification test within the next month. That'll be fun because it's expensive, and I'm always nervous about paying $100 and whatever to take a test, and you know, so I take the practice tests like 1,000 times to make sure I'm like expert at every possible permutation before I take the test. And so it takes a long time to go through all of those questions and practice tests. And I assume there's one for AZ204. I mean, that's how they did it with the fundamentals, Azure fundamentals, where they had a practice test. And it was really cool the way they set it up. You could just take it, and it has questions from the actual test, are very close, you know, very similar. And you can just have it throw, like there's like 200 questions or 160 questions. The test may only have about 80, but you can have it go through and give you all 160 questions all at once, or you can do it like, to give me 80. But just give me because this way you can practice doing the number of questions that might be on the test. And then you try to go through and you can say, okay, well, give me the ones, on the next test, give me the ones that I missed, along with ones I haven't done. So that'll give you another 60. And then eventually it starts to overlap. Give me the ones I haven't done in the last 3 tries. Give me the ones I missed in the last 3 tries. That kind of thing. And you just kind of keep going through, and you're just slowly going through until you say, all right, I'm consistently hitting 95, 98, 99%. And then when you take the test, you know, you only have to get 80%. So when I took Azure Fundamentals, which was by far a terrible thing for developers, it was not a developer's AZ, but you have to take it to get the other certifications. And I ended up getting like, I think 89%, even though I was getting 90 pluses on all of my practice tests. So yeah, you're not a sure thing, but at least you do pretty well. So yeah, let's see. I'll give Claude a go. I have ChatGPT on my resources up here. I'll put Claude. And see what Claude has to offer. I did like one thing about Black Box AI, and I'll tell you what got me. Which I don't know if I want. Do I want to say it impressed me? Impressed me. Sure, we'll say it impressed me. Was the way it responded to an error it made. And I found an error on it. First, let's create your account. Why do I need my phone number? That's silly. Oh, I was just trying to prove that I'm me. Of course I'm me. Who else would I be? Hello, I'm Claude. I'm next generation Ace AI, built for work and trained to be safe, accurate, and secure. Well, that's why it's trained for work. That's why you can't ask those goofy questions about weed. Hey, I am Harshil? Harshil. I am Harshil. Okay. Hey, Harshil. I'm next. I'd love for us to get to know each other a bit better. Really? Fine. Let's put my gamer name on. Active Mind Gamer. Why not? They can refer to me as, hey, Active Mind Gamer. Lovely to meet you, Active Mind Gamer. A few things to know before we start working together. This is a lot of stuff. Black Box AI and ChatGPT just said, hey, just ask me a question. You're logged in now. Sounds good. Let's see what else. Claude is not intended to give advice. Don't rely on our conversations. Anthropic may change usage limits, functionality, or policies as we learn more. You can upgrade your plan to get more access. How can Claude help you today? Okay, so we're here. So I'm going to hold this. I'm just going to go put it in my resources tab here, or my resources group. I haven't got a question for it yet. I'll get to that. What time is it? It's 12:20. So I got to get back to my app. Let's see if I can log in now, because that's why it was breaking. It didn't log in because my login wasn't available. Have I done anything here? Okay, so now it worked. Hello, AM Gamer at RomeroFamily.com. I'm logged in, and if this is correct, you can see that at the bottom lower left there it says, "Take me to the account page," which, by the way, is not a functional page right now. I have the page, but it's not functional. So hey, it worked. So basically, what's happening here is it went through. My page now does everything I intended for it to do. It's actually using my token and decrypting the token that I pulled from my auth API, and it says, hey, it's a valid token, and it pulls the email from it, which is what's happening right here, and it creates my new link as per the design. So if I go back to my homepage, nope, navbar. Navbar is the one that cares. My homepage doesn't have much. It has the text you see in front of you. Ultimately, I mean, I would probably have like an admin page for this that I log into that allows me to do like update the latest news, and the latest news would be stored in the database. Right now it's just text I threw on there. I can update headers or do something like that where I don't have to change the code to put that stuff in. Eventually that's going to be all part of the Ultimate Community Ladder database, and that database will have, you know, things like the texts that I might change throughout the thing. Sometimes the text might be built in, but I don't like having text in my code, right? So I might have to have, you know, page tables in my database so I can store the text that's there. Just certain headers, certain fields might be able to be named, but I don't like to have like descriptive text, things like that. And this is why sometimes you have a lot of websites will have what do you call it, HTML grids that you can edit, and it will store however you want to lay it out right there in the that HTML, because it's going to store all your HTML that you put in the database. So it'll always allow you to load it, edit it, save it back to the database. This way your entire layout can be fixed and edited by you. It can make it a bit more complicated because those HTML editors are kind of limited in what you can do, but it does allow you to have full control over the output appearance of a page. Okay, so where am I? You know what? That's kind of all I need to do for this step, and thus I'm trying to decide if I want to do the next piece here or if I want to go do my Blazor piece. Because I got to do the same thing in Blazor. So I got my Blazor application here. I'm going to open it up and you can kind of see where it's at. And it's blowing up a little bit. When I first started doing this, I decided I wanted to do the Facebook authorization. And that wasn't working. I got an error. And I was at the very, 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 very beginning of learning this authentication stuff and understanding it a lot less than I do now. But what ended up pulling me away from Blazor and sending me back to React to try is because I just wanted to see if it was going to be any easier. I could not get this to function the way I wanted to. So you'll see here when I load this that this is broken. And I could probably start figuring out how to make this work correctly now by asking ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. Say, hey man, what am I doing wrong? I do want to use Facebook and Google as alternate logins on this website. I don't want people to have to use my local login. But I also want to give them the option of not using those. So I'll use local login. So that's what I set up first, is local login with my own security, authentication, and encryption. And then I wanted to be able to run this here. So my auth API hopefully can run the Facebook and Google authentications. I will just create a link, put the link up available, and then people click on it. It will send whatever they provide or information they provide to my auth API, which will then do all of the let's go ask Facebook or Google for stuff. So I'm already broken. You can see something's not working. So I have to go through and troubleshoot this. It was working, it was loading. I did something one of my last few attempts and I just said, you know what, this is dumb. I just feel like, see, this is a lot going on in Blazor. To me, I feel like there's a lot happening to get things to work in Blazor. Now, I might be wrong on the complexity, because it could just be that React is better at breaking it down into smaller pieces and then it's just as much stuff going on. But to get it fully functional and working, really, you don't apply like an authorization. At least I haven't seen. Like if I go to my page here, there's not a piece here that says authorization, right? really, you put a piece of the code at the top and it just checks if you're authorized, if you've been validated. And what this is doing is not that. You know, Blazor, you put an authorize on it, and then it locks it down, and then which is kind of cool, I will say. I like that because then you don't have to do any checks in your page, right? The page just says, hey, this is an authorized page. If he's not authorized, send him to the login. Done. Easy peasy, complete. You don't have to do anything in your code. If it says authorized, you're not logged in, you just go to the login page. There's no extra pieces in the code. And if you are authorized, it just lets you work the page. Blazor's nice about that. So it may be a little bit more complex in setting up, but your pages individually are very easy to set for logging in. Only problem is if you're trying to do it at a home page, you still have to check, because like for me, I want people to get to the home page regardless. But if they are on the home page, I want I want it to acknowledge that they are logged in. So I have to have a check that will not kick them off the page, but will allow them to return, a valid value. So I don't know exactly what this is doing right now. It keeps returning my token, my not decrypted token. This is the token as is, but it's not decrypted here. And so it's got, I know what it's doing, and I don't like this. I feel like this is a thing I can get rid of. I'll show you what it is. Go to my route.js here. I thought I did remove it, to be honest, but maybe not. Yeah, see, I got this interval thing going on. I don't like this interval thing. I put it in because some stuff wasn't working, and it could very well be that I have to have it, but this is dry. But I don't like this because it keeps logging crap. Because once my token is set, what do I need this piece for? It's just going to keep going through. And my understanding of how stuff works here is iffy too. So clear interval, enter valid. Enter valid is set interval. Schedules repeated execution. Clean up on unmount. So this doesn't return anything. I mean, it does. It returns whatever this interval is, but what if I don't know. I'm gonna take this out. If I take this out though, I'm gonna need to gonna go test all my code again, because I'm trying to get rid of this what? Is it still doing something? It is. It's still doing stuff. Let's go to my console. Go to my console here. Yeah, it's still doing this. Check for... Why am I getting this? Oh, is it the use effect that's doing that? It's reading fine, but... Because I got rid of the whole polling bit. I'm going to take out the... I don't need this. Check for cookie. Somewhere, where am I still checking for cookie? See, this is one I don't need. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of the things I did, don't use. All right, so I want to kill this timer and see if it still works. This was just one of those things I put in because certain other stuff wasn't working, and I got suggestions to put this in, and I rewrote my code, and so we are constantly running something. I wonder if I have something in my nav bar that's doing this. Alright, so we got, it could be the use effect. It's constantly checking. Trip values change. Well, that's not going to do anything. Yeah, path name. Nav bar check for cookie. Yeah, it keeps running in here. My nav bar must be doing this. It must be the use effect that's doing that. I don't fully understand the effect of use effect, but it obviously is checking. It keeps checking for the drip value to change. I guess I don't have any choice. This just does this. I've never been a fan of things that just constantly poll, and I wish I could stop it. Like, I only run, I don't know. There's gotta be a way to make it stop doing that. Or at least reduce it. I mean, how would I reduce the polling? Nav bar check for cookie. How would I do this? Is my other stuff? I mean, I do have this use Jwt, but I think that's where I was just a second ago. Yeah. Huh. It's gotta be. So these aren't being called at all. Trip values changed. No cookie found. Check for cookie. But that's all navbar. So it's all the navbar firing this stuff. I don't have any other things calling. I'm gonna take this this out for now because I don't think I need this right now. Just take out unnecessary logging crap. But this one I need to figure out. Check for cookie is constantly being called. Alright. And I could probably get rid of this one. I don't need to keep loading this thing either. It is interesting that this keeps getting called though. We're not getting this one. That's right, I'll keep that one. I like to keep the error ones, so if something goes wonky, I can see it. Console.log, I don't need this one, I suppose. Just cleaning up my code before I move on to the next thing, so I'm not getting a bunch of crap when I move on to the next thing. So this one is logging right here. Guess I can get rid of that. I'll stop that from happening. Still not getting me out of this mess though. I don't know. must be the use effect. What is the normal polling of use effect? I didn't even realize it polled constantly. I figured it would be like a thing that only triggered when it triggered. Something changes, it triggers. But it must be polling somehow because it's constantly firing. Next. Man, I have a lot of junk in here, but it is being used, it looks like. And check nav bar, check for cookie. But this one, drip values changed. Oh no, that is actually firing every time too. So this whole nav bar is constantly firing. Is that normal? Because, yeah, something's this whole thing is being called. Let's go see my my homepage. Yeah, I don't have any kind of a timer on this. It's probably in layout. Yeah, it's just nav bar here. But there's no... What does force dynamic mean again? Export const dynamic. Alright, I gotta see what this means. You know, there's certain things that I've done, and I don't remember why I did it. What does this mean? Force dynamic makes it change, right? I've tried to add export constant and build each time next. Question, export const dynamic, force dynamic, export. Alright, let's go see. I'm gonna go try Claude. Claude, what does this code do exactly? NextJS, well, yeah, I know that. The line of code is setting a configuration option for NextJS specifically. It's exporting a constant named dynamic. The default of this constant is to set the string force dynamic. Yeah, I got that much. Ensures that page is always server-side rendered. Okay, force dynamic setting ensures that the page is always server-side rendered and never statically generated or cached. This can be used when you need to ensure that the content is always up to date, such as for pages that display real-time data or need to reflect the latest database state on every request. Huh. Do I need that? I mean, it's got a variable. What happens if I take that out? Does my code totally explode and stop working, or does that? Because I don't know if I mean, this is the home page. What the heck do I need the home page to be? I mean, it's not going to change that constantly. Nope, that didn't do anything. So I was thinking that might force it to continually try to stay alive, you know, get updated info, but there's not going to be that kind of stuff. So, all right, so force dynamic allows the page to continually refresh, but I thought that would have something to do with why navbar is continually refreshing. So it must just be use effect. Unfortunately. So I may not have a choice but to have this. There's a couple of things I'm not a fan of. I don't like repetitive calls, triggers on every button or every push. Those kind of things drive me bonkers. I know sometimes it's required, but I feel like sometimes if you can avoid it, you know, your app will be more efficient if it's not constantly doing something it doesn't need to. Like, so say for example, I have my login page, and when I'm typing in my user ID, it's constantly updating that you're every letter you put in there, it's constantly updating. Yes, you might want to use that to validate that it's an email, right? Does it have an @ symbol? You know, don't allow submit to work if you don't have an @ symbol and a period in there after the @ symbol. You know, something like that, because you need to have some kind of validation that it's an email address, right? And I can kind of get that because that'll determine if your submit button's going to be visible or available. Right now I don't have that, but it's still going through and checking every single. It's just allowing me to put stuff in because I'm not testing that. But that's like stuff I would do later when you're trying to clean stuff up. It is nice to do it when you think about it. But right now I have a more complex issue. So I'm doing that first. So, okay, so my nav bar does test now. It does test for getting my Jwt values, right? So I do have this. But this is probably not the best way to implement my cookie, because all I'm doing there is saying, hey, do I have a cookie? Does it work? I'm not really doing anything with it to verify that it's good cookie, that we have a valid account, that the user who's coming in, and that's what I was trying to do with my validate here. So this is me again trying the next step of complexity, and that is to go to my account page. If somebody comes to an account page and they're not logged in, this should just reroute them to the login page. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Doesn't do anything else. It takes them to auth. But you can see I have a syntax error here, probably because certain things in here don't actually work. I don't believe I have this. Oh no, that's process m next public API. So what is my auth called for the validation? And I don't want to do it here. This is the page. I don't want my page doing authentication stuff. I want to just say, I want this to be middleware, basically. So I'm gonna give Claude another go. Give Claude another opportunity to prove to me he's cool. Reply to Claude. All right. Subscribe for more usage. What is the usage? I mean, how many? Does it have a counter? I wish they'd show you a counter that says, "Hey, buddy, you've got 1 of 5 tries left, or 1 of 50 tries left, or something." Five times more usage. Well, what is my usage? Because I know that ChatGPT just runs out, right? It'll say, you can't do anymore. It doesn't tell me how many I had. There's no counter that says, hey, you need to start being a little bit pickier about your questions because you're about to run out of use. You've only got 3 left. What are you going to ask me? You've got 3 wishes and no more. And how long before it resets if you're using Claude? See, if Claude's going to run out after 5 tries, and then it doesn't reset for, a day, then I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be using Claude because I can't afford Claude. Claude controls? Yeah. I'm just trying to see if there's anything that explains how many you got left. Billing. Yep, I guess there's not. The free plan. Does the free plan tell me what the free plan is? Alright, let's click on this. Let's see what the... Alright, so... Level up 5 times, access Claude. Access to Claude 3 HiQ, or fastest model, and Claude 3 Opus. Create projects to work with Claude around a set of docs, code, or files. Priority access during high traffic periods. Early access to new features. Yeah, it doesn't tell you how much you get with your current state. Nope. So it just ends when it ends, I guess. All right, so, all right, Claude. All right, let's see. I want to use my middleware to do this, and I feel like middleware should do the authentication. So, how do I implement my auth? I already have all the code. I just need to call it, right? So, how do I implement my auth validation on each page that requires it? And in my NextJS/React. Oh, my auth validation via middleware on each page that requires it. Auth validation via middleware on each page that requires it in my NextJS React application. Sure. All right, Claude, tell me what I got, man. Let's see if you're any better than ChatGPT. Sometimes I'll take the exact same question, go put it in ChatGPT, and just see what it does. And see what I like, which one I like better. It does give you a lot of words to go with it, but then again, ChatGPT might too. And let me read this and see what I like about it, see how close it comes. Okay, so to implement authentication validation via middleware for protected pages in NextJS React, here's a step-by-step approach. Create a middleware file in your project. See, I think it's going to tell me how to actually, I'm a little worried it's going to actually tell me how to authenticate, because I already have the cookie. Constant token request, cookie, get auth token value. So, request next URL path name. Is protected route. Constant is protected route. Path. Oh, okay, so we can actually add the different routes. I like that. That's how we would do it. All right, so let's go to middleware. Let's do that. I may already have that for one of them, but I may not, because I haven't done any. This middleware here is not being called by anything, I don't think. See, it still says your auth API validate, so that's not there. And so this middleware here, what is it doing? Token.request.cookies.get. It does do a request.cookies.get. Auth token, which is the name of my cookie, which is AU, and this is actually supposed to be token. So the only thing is, it does have the protected routes piece. It uses, this is slightly different, because this one's using a matcher. So I have a count and ladders are the pages that I'm protecting, right? Export constant config equals, and then I have matcher here. This one doesn't use, oh, it does, never mind. Huh, okay, so now I'm confused. Dashboard : path, profile : path. Oh, API : path. And path is /dashboard /profile. Is protected route, and we have a token. It's a little bit different approach to this, and I'm trying to figure out how it verifies. So we're doing the cookie get, and then we do a check. We have nextResponse.redirect. So I have nextResponse.redirect to auth. So that's exactly what mine is doing. It's not a huge difference. They do a return next. So if it's a protected route, we're going to go redirect. They're doing nextResponse.redirect. Mine just goes to auth. This one goes to new URL login request.url. I'm trying to decide if this is better, right? So looking at it, seeing what is it doing, why is it path, request.nextURL, path name. So I guess it's like where you're about to click, and so we have various paths as a protected route, and then we have config, and then it throws path down on it. I don't understand how that config works. So it's putting the path on the end. Specify which routes this middleware should run on. Right, and I have that, but mine is using just the straight up path, account and ladders. Well, ladders doesn't exist. That page doesn't even exist, but that's okay because it's going to, and I just put it there. So if I go to a ladders route, it'll do something. But for now, I am actually trying to do, okay, so it's just going to the account page, but I don't understand how Claude is putting :path on there and why. Why not just be the same thing? :path. Request.nextURL path name. So they're saying starts with dashboard, starts with profile. Which is profile, I have an account, I guess profile works. Profile might be better, I suppose. Profile, you can do other stuff, right? Dashboard is basically homepage. But I guess my thing is, do I want to do it that way? That's the question. Implement your authentication logic. The middleware checks for an auth token to cookie. You'll need to set the cookie when a user logs in successfully. For example, you log in API route. Yeah, I got that. Export default async function handler. Protect your API routes. For API routes, you can create a wrapper function. Yeah, I've already got the login part going. Validating the credentials. I mean, I'm doing all that. That's already done. And then we got here next API request, API response, promise service, cookie auth token, res status for EnergySun. Yeah, I don't think I need any of that either. Client-side protection. While the middleware provides server-side protection, you should also implement client-side checks. You can create a wrapper component. Ideally, most of my pages are going to be based on server side, but use effect, React. verbose authentication for your NextJS application. The middleware protects routes on server side, while client-side wrapper ensures that authenticated users are redirected even if they somehow bypass the middleware. Remember to implement proper token generation, verification, and management, possibly using libraries like JS Web Token. Yeah, I have all that. I have the other stuff all implied. I just need to make sure I have it set up to make the calls. So, but they are doing Boca Raton? Why would Boca? I don't even think my... Dang it, I keep... Whatever's... Something is jumping... Something is... I don't know, my eyelash or what keeps poking me in the eye, and I keep trying to get it out. It's like I'm... And my eye is like irritated right up until I do something about it. It just stops, and it's like... Huh. Oh well. It's fixed now. So, when you're using NextJS, theoretically, everything is kind of server-side by default. And then you have client-side stuff. But I want to make sure export function with auth wrapped component. Oh, that's kind of cool. I do kind of like the way they do that. Or they Claude. I like the way Claude does that. Now I don't know if ChatGPT would do this too. I got to throw this to ChatGPT just to see what it says. But I'm looking at the last piece here. I do like that it has this option that you can basically just say, "Hey, let's check my component out with auth," and you would just go export default with auth, and you pass the component in. So you have your dashboard page, and you can just call it with auth. And so you could theoretically just call the page. Oh gosh, dang thing in my eye. Without auth or with auth. You just say, hey, I need my page to be authenticated. So you can call it with auth and just pass that component in, and it'll check on it for you. That's kind of cool. I like this. Do I want to... What is this doing here? I should probably look at it, make sure. See, the thing is, I asked a question without the context of what my app does. And this is what happens when you're trying to get specific additional tasks done using an AI, right? Because it doesn't know the context of your application. So when you ask, it just gives you something, assuming this other stuff. So if it's giving you something that's assuming an issue... If it's giving you something assuming one thing and your code doesn't actually do that or doesn't do it the same way, what they're giving you is not going to work. You're going to be like, why doesn't this work? Because, well, it's expecting X, Y, and Z. So that's why I'm trying to... You can't simply take what the AIs give you without first understanding what it's giving you and understanding if it's going to work for your code. Yes, I'm using NextJS, but there are multiple ways to do things, just like when you do things in C# or any other language. I mean, like it could be assuming things like page routing versus app routing or app folder routing. And so there is a little bit of manipulating, right? I'm actually gonna do this. I do like the idea of this with auth. And I'm trying to figure out how I can utilize this. And again, part of this is I'm new to React and understanding how to reference things and do things, but export function with auth. So, and this is use auth from your auth content. So I'm thinking I want to take this method so the export part of this component is dashboard with auth. Huh. I want to put this method somewhere, but I want to put it either in my utils. I have used Jwt utils cookie. Where should I put this? I don't want to put it in my auth folder. I mean, I guess I could. This is a JSX. Well, it's only a JSX because it's... I typically will call it a JavaScript file if it doesn't actually have any rendering in it. No UI elements. See, this one does have a return div loading. So in theory, I guess it does have some, so it would be a JSX. Use auth from your auth content, which is implement this to manage auth state. And what is use auth? They don't actually give you the name of your, he doesn't, Claude doesn't give you a file name. Just says implement the middleware. Okay, so this, I am going to try this. I think my middleware is pretty close to this one though. I just don't, I'm trying to understand this. Let's see if I can ask it. Let me see if I ask it why it does that. In the matcher statement, the router or the routes show. All right, no, let's just in the routes. What is the purpose of the colon path suffix on each route as opposed to just route minus that suffix. Wait, it's opposed, isn't it? It's opposed versus opposed. As opposed. All right, Claude, explain to me why that colon path is on there. The colon path suffix in the matcher statement serves a specific purpose. Well, no kidding. Let's break it down. Break it down. Purpose of path. The path is a wildcard matcher that means match this route and all of its sub-routes. Ah. Well, see, I don't even need to read the rest. That does it, man. That's all I need. I can read the rest. The asterisk indicates that it... There's an asterisk? Oh, there is an asterisk at the end of path. Indicates that it should match 0 or more path segments. Difference from routes without the suffix. Would only match dashboard path matches dashboard and any path under it, like... Yeah, okay. So colon path allows you to get more. Why can't you just use colon though? I mean, or why can't you just use the star? Can't you just say Oh no, because I don't know. I guess not. I guess I don't understand. Maybe it's just syntactically the way you would do it here. Instead of just saying dashboard /star, you say colon path. Path star. All right, I understand now, and I do like that. So now I've learned something new. So colon path is actually a better way to do that. Star. / colon path star. Learning. Okay. Thank you, Claude. Okay, so we're going to go over here. And now I understand that. So we're going to get the path that apparently is where we're trying to go, and it's going to check for it, which makes it a better example, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I'm going to have to give Claude that. Now, I don't know that I got mine from, maybe I did get this from ChatGPT. I don't know. But I do like that it was pretty good about that. We're still doing the next response. That's next. Redirect new URL / login, which is actually auth. Request.url. It's request.nextURL.pathname. So it's the URL I'm currently at. Redirect to login if accessing a protected route without a token. This one doesn't use a try catch. As in, this one's not trying to validate the token. I'm trying to decide if I want to try to use my code. I don't want to be redundant. I don't like doing the same thing in two places, which is part of it. So if I'm going to call this, I mean, validating the token is important. I think, we get the token, we're good on the token, let's validate the token. And validate token here, you see, is not actually a functional thing yet. I need to put this in and call, send this to validate token dot my API to make sure it's good. And then headers authorization bearer, and then this is my token that came back. Okay. But this is kind of the next step, and I need to take a break. I need to go eat and do a couple of things, and then I will try and come back and see if I can work a little bit further into this. This was actually only supposed to be like a 30-40 minute stream, because I was just going to explain what I did to fix the other thing, but now I want to start working on the next, and I'm going to wait until the next, until I come back. So, hey, Mark, I am Harshil, and SL Beast Vlogs. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Appreciate it. If you're so inclined, follow and subscribe. And if you're into miniatures, check out the X case and the Mage Cage. Check out what they are. They're an expandable, transportable display case. That's what you see in my lower left there, lower right to you, I guess. That is a cool case, front opening, expandable, transportable, displayable. You can mount them on the walls. Check them out at YouTube and Instagram under Active Minds Games with Minds with an S in the middle. And if you want to get some, we have Mage Cages with the inserts for magnetized inserts, and the flex iron bases and the metal bases if you put magnets on your minis. We have those available at amgamesdirect.com. And if you are actually more so inclined to just kind of be part of the Kickstarter when we have more clear cases available, which only currently are X cases, the Kickstarter will launch when we hit 800 followers on our Facebook page, AM Games Direct. And, AM Active Minds Games on Facebook. That's Minds with an S in the middle. Don't forget the S in the middle. Follow us there once we get 800 followers. That's also where we're going to put status. We haven't put any new status lately because not a lot has changed. But once we've got 400 and some followers there, hoping to get that up to 800. So check it out. Till next time, take it easy.